Hello, it's Natasha, and today I'm going to be talking to you about how me and my boyfriend bought our £200,000 house. Unfortunately, at the moment, due to the global pandemic, buying a house is really hard. You need at least 15 to 20% of your house deposit for your deposit. So that means if I want an £180,000 house, you're going to need £36,000 deposit. Even if you are looking at houses a little bit cheaper and you're going to do them up, so £160,000, which is really a small house, maybe one bedroom, that needs a lot of work. You can't really even get a flat for £160,000 in my local area, and you'd still need £34,000 deposit. Maybe a little bit less if you're going for that 15%, but not a lot of banks are accepting that either. I don't even earn that in a year, so that was really difficult for us to try and look for a house. We'd moved out of my parents' house just over 8 months ago, and we moved into my boyfriend's mum's house to save up a little bit. So what we did was we found this scheme, which is the shared ownership scheme, and I'm going to talk through all of it today. So, shared ownership is a Help to Buy scheme from the Housing Association. I honestly had never heard of it before. We found this house that we really liked, and it was a bit further than we were looking, but we, come and viewed it and we really liked it. And at the bottom of the selling page it said shared ownership. So it is made by the government to help people on a lower wage to be able to afford a house. So dependent on where you live and dependent what is on offer around, that people either sell their houses for 25, 50 or 75%, and you have the chance to buy the house and pay a mortgage on that percentage that you buy. You then pay rent on the other percent that is left over, but in the grand scheme of things it actually ends up being less than what you'd pay on a rented house, as the rent is reduced due to you buying part of the house. Not all lenders actually support shared ownership schemes, so there's only certain banks that do locally to us, but we had a mortgage advisor that helped us through it, that explained everything to us and found us the bank that would actually allow shared ownership. A lot of the time you don't need a deposit. We gave a small deposit of £5,000 because you also obviously have to pay lots of fees with solicitors and other fees like searches, and sometimes you'll have to pay like a month or 2 months of rent or mortgage ahead of time. So I'd recommend saving up about £3,000 or just under for all your fees. So take that into account when you are giving a deposit, but also it's your choice if you give a deposit and then you go into a pot with a few other people that applied for the house, and they choose who is the most either vulnerable, the most needing of the house, or maybe they earn the less or have the best credit rating, but you get chosen out of the pot of people that have applied for that house. There was a end date, so it wasn't open for like a year. We had maybe a few weeks left to get into the pot of people to be chosen from, and then in the end we got a letter to say that we got accepted for this house. And at the end of the day, just so you know, it is still a leasehold property. Leasehold properties mean that you don't own the land that your house is on, so sometimes rented properties are like it, sometimes general houses have a long lease that someone else owns the land, so there's not a lot you can do with it. But this house is leasehold until we own the full house, which means that we own the land that it's on and no one else owns the property. With the rent that we pay, the home insurance is also included with our association, so I don't know if that's everyone. Maintenance is included. There's certain things that you need to have or need to not earn to be able to get a shared ownership property. So the first thing, you need to be 18 or over to buy a property under shared ownership. You need to be in a position where you cannot buy an actual house on the market with the money that you have. You have to have a good credit rating, so if you have any negative things on there or any debt or any things that you have not paid, you might not be accepted for your mortgage, or the housing association will not accept you. If you're in the military or anything like that, you may be put forward and be more likely to be accepted. Also, if you have a higher deposit, you might be more likely to be accepted as well. And the last one that they check is that you do not own a house. If you currently own a house, you have to be in the process of selling the house to be accepted, or you have to be a first-time buyer. So we have a 35-year mortgage, which makes the monthly mortgage payments a little bit cheaper. So our monthly mortgage payments between me and my boyfriend is £460. Then our remaining rent on the 50% of our house is roughly £250. So that is roughly £710 that we're paying monthly for our house. So we are buying half of it and we're renting the other half. Although if you was to rent in our local area, it's at least £800 a month for a flat or a 1-bedroom house, and even more for anything nice like this. So definitely something I would look into and recommend. Staircasing is where you buy more percent of your house so that your rent goes down, and then you eventually will buy the remainder percentage of your house. So we bought 50% of our house and we're paying a mortgage on half and we're paying rent on half. To buy the remaining part, you need to be in your house for at least a year. Well, this is with our bank and our association, so we need to be in here for at least a year so that they know we can pay all our payments before we buy an extra percentage. You can only buy a minimum of 10% at a time. You can't just buy 5% and slowly and gradually. It's not quite worth getting a small amount because you have to pay fees, obviously, and give a deposit for the amount you're buying. So our next time we are going to look into buying 25% of our house. That means that we need a deposit of at least 10% of that amount. So our house is £200,000. We've already got a mortgage for £100,000 of it. So 25% will be £50,000. Hey, Editing Tash here. Everything from now on didn't make sense, whatever I said. So basically we're going to give a 10 to 20% deposit on the £50,000 we would like to add to our mortgage, so that we then own 75%. Our mortgage will go up, but our rent will go down, so we'll owe 75% and pay mortgage on 25%. So in the end, you sort of balance things out. As you buy more, your rent goes down. So that scheme is called staircasing, and that is how you buy the rest of your house. You don't need to buy the rest of it. If you want, you can carry on, you can stay in your house for as long as you can pay the mortgage, and whenever you want to move, you'll only sell the amount that you own. So if say our house goes up to £220,000 and we sell it, we will only get £110,000. We'll only get half of it because we only earn half the house. So we'll only get half of the selling costs because we only own half. If you're wondering whether you can do stuff to the house, yes, you can decorate. You can do like general stuff, put in sort of pictures up. There's a few things in our lease saying that we can't change the outside too much, not changing the indoor or the main structure of the house, but as long as you get permission from your landlord or the housing association, then you can change whatever you'd like as long as you've got permission. So as long as you ask prior, there should be no issue. Basically, I think this is a really, really good opportunity for those of you that can't afford a house the full amount. It's definitely a good way to get on the property ladder and actually move out and get into your own home. It's definitely a lot easier way. It's more affordable, and also there is ways to get the remainder of the house. We definitely would have been at home for about 5 to 10 more years to actually save up to buy a house like this, and I'm so happy that we have bought a house like this. We definitely 100% would never have been able to afford this house without this scheme. So I hope that helped. If you've got any questions, pop them in the comments down below, and I hope to see you soon. I've got more house stuff and beauty stuff coming very soon, so like and subscribe, and I'll see you later.